男生没钱的时候能不能别结婚了？连个最基础的房车都没有。
Can men who have no money just stop getting married already? If he doesn't even have the most basic things, a house and a car, then why should I suffer and struggle together with him? Then let me ask you, what kind of man are you looking for? Me? I just want to find someone who's about the same as me. Ideally, he shouldn't be over 30 years old. Age not over 30, do you have a house? No. Then why do you insist that the man must have one? Isn't it basic for a man to have a house? If he doesn't even own a house, then he's basically useless, isn't he? That just shows he's not capable enough. What about a house bought with a loan? Would that be acceptable? Of course not. If he buys a house on loan after paying the mortgage, what's left of his salary? That would just make me live a hard life with him, lowering my current standard of living. Now think about it for a young man around 30 years old. If he wants to get married without taking a loan, how much money would he need to have? Let's not even talk about big cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, or Shenzhen, just in our city, Weifang. If he doesn't take a loan, he still needs to prepare around 1,500,000 to 600,000 yuan. Weifang's houses aren't even expensive. Why would it need 1,500,000 yuan? Besides, 1,500,000 yuan isn't that much. Could you please shut up? In your mouth? Even over 1 million yuan isn't considered money anymore? Let me break it down for you, and you'll understand. Two people want to get married, the bride price, the 3 golds, and the diamond ring can't be missing, right? Right. Let's say the bride price is a modest 88,000 yuan. Not too much, right? Not too much. The 3 golds and diamond ring together, around 50,000 yuan. That's reasonable, right? Reasonable. So now we're at 238,000 yuan already, right? Okay. On the wedding day, you'll want something luxurious, not just a simple countryside banquet. Let's say 1,000 yuan per table. That's not too much, right? Not really. The groom's side has 15 tables. The bride's side has 15 tables. That's 30 tables total. So, the banquet costs 30,000 yuan. Add that up now, we're at 268,000 yuan. Then there's the wedding host, the photographer, the hotel, and all those extra expenses, plus the souvenirs, small gifts, the wedding dress rentals, and accommodations for out-of-town friends. Let's estimate another 20,000 yuan for that, okay? Now how much are we at? 288,000 yuan, right? And that's just the small part. Now let's talk about the big part. You'll need to buy a house, right? Let's say 100 square meters, after removing shared areas about 90 usable square meters. At 10,000 yuan per square meter, that's already 1 million yuan for the house. Then you need to renovate it. For a 100 square meter house, even if you don't go all out, a simple renovation still costs around 200,000 yuan. So in total so far, that's about 1,480,000 yuan, right? You also have to buy a car, right? The cheapest car now is around 100,000 yuan, enough for a decent small car, not unreasonable. Okay, so now that brings the total to 1,588,000 yuan, which is already 88,000 yuan more than the 1,500,000 yuan we mentioned earlier. You just said you want to find a man around 30 years old, right? From the time he graduates at 22, he has 8 years to save 1,600,000 yuan, which means he must save 200,000 yuan every year. Let me ask you, how much do you earn per month? 4,000 yuan. So in a year, that's 48,000 yuan. Even if you don't eat or drink, how much can you save? Less than 50,000 yuan, right? That's not even a quarter of what he needs. But that's different. He's a man. He should be better than me. Better than you, huh? So his salary should be 3 times yours, 4,000 times 3. That's 12,000 yuan a month. Even if he earns 12,000 yuan and doesn't eat or drink, how is he supposed to save 200,000 yuan a year? How would he even live? Then she says, well, that just means he's not capable enough. There are plenty of people who can make money. Plenty, huh? Well, clearly you're not one of them. Earning 4,000 yuan a month, yet using the greatest malice to demand impossibly high standards from a man who might not even end up being your husband. Are you sure you have the right to say that? So tell me, what do you think? Can a man without a car or a house still get married? If you're still watching, comment 1 so I know you're still with me. The moon once again rises, and my cousin, that little girl, looks as red and bright as the moon itself. Cousin, just like you, I'll drink and work hard together with you, side by side, under that glowing moon.
本来以为结婚话债就已经很离谱，
At first, I thought the whole bride price situation in marriages was already outrageous enough, but I never expected that in Jiangxi it could get even more absurd. They've actually come up with something called a bride price payment and marriage protection agreement. After reading through the contents of this agreement, I honestly think even Li Hongzhang back in his time wouldn't have dared to sign such a treaty. According to it, the groom must pay the bride 388,000 yuan as a so-called sincerity deposit. And if the couple later divorces, not only will the bride not have to return the bride price, but the man must also pay an additional 200,000 yuan as a so-called sky-high penalty fee. There's even a ridiculous childbearing clause within 2 years. The wife must give birth to a male baby, and if she gives birth to a girl instead, the man must compensate the bride with another 100,000 yuan. This is truly infuriating. It's like a mirror reflecting the grotesque distortion of bride price culture, consumerism, and radical feminism in Jiangxi. It finally made me understand one thing in the past. Robbers wore masks when they stole. Now, robbers wear wedding dresses.
你信不信？目前最难找对象的。
Do you believe it? Nowadays, the ones who find it hardest to get a partner are not the single men in the countryside, but rather the white-collar women in big cities. They are becoming the group with the greatest difficulty in finding love across the entire country. I know many people don't understand this, because in their perception, city girls have everything: education, looks, and good jobs. So why is it so hard for them to find a partner? It's because, since ancient times, women have been accustomed to marrying upward. Their mindset is that they can't settle for someone worse than themselves. But precisely because they are excellent, there are very few men who can truly match or handle them. And this puts them into a dilemma, a kind of inner struggle. If they keep holding on to their standards, their age is already passing 30. But if they lower their standards, they will feel unwilling and resentful. After all, they've worked hard to earn their university degrees, secured good jobs, and even have decent looks. So why is it that they still can't find someone who is roughly on the same level as they are?
那钱男友给的，看放了啥？
What did my ex-boyfriend put inside this gift box? Wow, this one actually looks quite nice. He's being a bit generous this time, not bad at all. Let's take a look at the second one. Wow, this is my favorite one, that jade green necklace. Oh my God, I can't believe that after all these years, he still remembers what I like. Let's see what this one is. Wow, it's a collectible. Oh my God, it's a bracelet. And it's also jade green. How thoughtful of him. Now let's open this one and see what's inside. Oh wow, there's money in here. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Wow! He even put 2,000 yuan in cash inside. Let's check this one. Oh, it feels quite heavy. What did he put in here? What is this? Wow, is this some kind of face cream he bought for me? What does he mean by giving me all of these things?
男人四不碰.
There are 4 types of women that men should never get involved with. First, the kind of woman who constantly throws tantrums and shows a bad attitude for no reason. Don't get involved with her. Second, the kind of woman who only knows how to take, who never gives, and always demands more. Don't get involved with her. Third, the kind of woman who refuses to communicate, who shuts down every conversation and avoids solving problems together. Don't get involved with her. Fourth, the kind of woman who is overly domineering and controlling, who always needs to have the final say. Don't get involved with her.
男生有钱后和女生有钱后所
When men become rich, and when women become rich, the lifestyles they pursue are completely different. Because many women have a huge misunderstanding, they think that once a man becomes wealthy, he will be just like them, immediately chasing what they call a refined life, buying luxury brands, eating fancy dinners, or traveling around the world. Some time ago, we introduced a woman to a man who was truly a self-made entrepreneur. There were at least 8 figures lying quietly in his bank account. But not long after, the woman came back to complain, saying she felt that the man was a bit stingy. For example, when going to the movies, he would drive half an hour earlier to park in a farther parking lot just to save a little on parking fees. She thought he earns over 1 million yuan a year. Is it really necessary to fuss over 10 or 20 yuan like that? Is he going bankrupt, or does he just not care about me? Actually, this is a classic clash between the consumption mindset of a self-made entrepreneur and that of a modern woman. Modern women, once they have money, their first reaction is to improve their quality of life, buy better things, enjoy better services. In their eyes, money is meant to reward themselves. But for a man who started from scratch and fought his way up from the bottom, his first half of life was spent with limited resources, constantly shadowed by fear and anxiety of losing everything. This scarcity mindset doesn't disappear when he gets rich. It becomes deeply ingrained, almost instinctive in his spending habits. According to the Harun Research Institute and reports published by institutions such as UBS, in surveys about the biggest anxieties among high net worth individuals in China, wealth preservation and inheritance have consistently ranked at the top for many years, far above personal enjoyment. This shows that for most self-made entrepreneurs in China, their main priority is to protect and pass on their wealth, not to indulge in it. This mentality naturally reflects in their conservative and rational consumption. They feel a physical discomfort toward unnecessary spending. They can eat a luxurious dinner that costs several thousand yuan, but they will still insist on returning a pack of tissues that costs 2 yuan. Do you understand now? What you consider quality of life, in his eyes, might simply be unnecessary expenses. I know many girls hearing this will think, but the rich men I know are very generous and live with great style. Sister, let me tell you, the kind of rich men you know are most likely not self-made entrepreneurs, but rich second-generation heirs. These two types of people are completely different species when it comes to spending philosophy. The self-made man earns every cent through his own effort. Each penny carries his blood and sweat. But the second-generation heir inherits his wealth. A person who has never experienced scarcity since childhood will have a duller sense of opportunity cost. When they spend 1 million yuan, they won't clearly realize, if I invested this 1 million, could it become 2 million or even more? Sociological studies have found that many wealthy families deliberately provide their children with financial education, even making them experience poverty, just to counteract this natural deficiency. But this is difficult to completely change. They still grow up believing that money is infinite. So their purpose for spending money is not to create more value, but to experience and to socialize. They need sports cars, fine dining, and the latest fashion brands to maintain their identity and belonging within that exclusive circle. And I know, hearing this, you might think, all right then, I'll just find a rich second-generation guy. But now I have to tell you the second truth, more realistic and far more cruel. You think rich heirs are everywhere, but how many truly exist in the real world? According to the Harun Wealth Report, China has about 2,080,000 families with assets exceeding 10 million yuan. Sounds like a lot, right? But they make up less than 0.5% of all households nationwide. And you should know, much of their wealth is tied up in fixed assets, not easily spendable cash flow. Moreover, the vast majority of these families are actually self-made, not inherited. As for those who can give you that idle drama lifestyle, young, handsome, and single heirs, they've long been absorbed and reserved within their highly closed inner circles. Do ordinary girls like us even stand a chance? And even if you enter the dating market, what are the chances of meeting one? Honestly speaking, it's probably not much higher than winning the grand prize in the lottery. So, sisters, it's time to wake up. The rich men you're most likely to meet and can actually build something with are those who dress simply, calculate parking fees carefully, and devote themselves entirely to making money. If you can't understand or accept their most genuine, unpolished side and still insist on measuring them with an idealized drama heroine script, then I must tell you in the end, you'll neither grasp the future of the self-made entrepreneur nor reach the present of the rich second generation. You'll only be left with yourself.
有一句话叫做贫贱夫妻百事哀.
There is a saying that goes, when a couple is poor, everything becomes sorrowful. I believe you must have heard it before. Nowadays, people often use it to describe married couples whose financial situation is tight, believing that their lives will be extremely difficult because of money. But do you know what? We have actually misunderstood the true meaning behind this phrase. This saying originated from the Tang Dynasty poet Yuan Zhen. He wrote it in a mourning poem dedicated to his late wife, Wei Kong. Wei Kong was a lady from a noble family, yet she married Yuan Zhen when he was still a poor and struggling scholar. She stayed by his side through 7 hard years of poverty. At that time, there was no wine at home to drink, so she took the golden hairpin from her hair and exchanged it for a little wine for Yuan Zhen. However, when Yuan Zhen's financial situation finally began to improve, Wei Kong fell ill and passed away. That just a little too late kind of regret became the deepest wound in his heart. So he wrote 3 elegiac poems titled Qian Bei Huai, Deep Sadness, to express his endless longing and guilt that could never be made up for. In his writings, he recalled their simple yet tender life together. When I had no clothes to wear, you searched through the trunks for something to give me. When I pestered you for money to buy wine, you smiled and pulled the golden hairpin from your hair to exchange for it. Those days of finding joy amidst hardship, after Wei Kong's death, all turned into sharp and painful memories that pierced his heart. What hurt him most was that the debt of love and gratitude he owed her could never again be repaid. Thus he wrote that immortal line, "Truly, this sorrow is shared by all. When a couple is poor, all things are filled with sorrow." The separation between life and death is a grief none of us can escape. Yet what's truly tragic is this: the two of us endured hardship together, and now that life has finally turned for the better, you are no longer here to see it. Therefore, the saying, "When a couple is poor, everything becomes sorrowful," has never been about describing poverty or hardship in life. It is about the kind of longing carved into one's bones, about the pain of reaching sweetness after bitterness, only to find the one you love no longer there. So it is not, without money, everything is difficult, but rather, with you, everything is complete. Every ordinary day spent together in peace may just be, in the eyes of the ancients, the most precious kind of happiness. Before we dive into all of this, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers across the world is a huge source of inspiration for us. I, Ding Shigua, am full of joy and happiness. My uncle invited me over. Everything feels hot and lively, hot with prosperity, hot with blessings, and the family is full of children and grandchildren. May the gentleman have a noble son, and may there be a lovely daughter born again. This bed that was bought, it's a good bed indeed. Next year, may it bring a pair of dragon and phoenix babies. This bed was bought quickly. May it bless with twins who will grow up to become high officials. This bed that was bought long next year, may it bring a pair of sons who become top scholars. And by next year, the children will be calling out uncle, aunt, father, and mother. Come, 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 come. When Sister's matters are all finished, we'll be standing right up by her ears, joyfully watching and celebrating together.
近日，湖南一32岁女子离婚。
Recently, in Hunan, a 32-year-old woman celebrated her divorce and proudly showed off her divorce certificate online, but just 1 month later, she was left completely dumbfounded. The woman admitted that she had gotten married too early and had been too naive. She ended up marrying a man who had no skills and no ambition, earning just a little over 8,000 yuan a month. Her husband didn't know how to be romantic. He never gave her flowers, never surprised her, and their daily life was plain and dull, like water without taste. She said living with him was boring, and even though they slept on the same bed, there was no spark at all. Their intimacy became dry and lifeless, like two strangers sharing the same pillow but dreaming different dreams. Whenever she wanted to buy cosmetics or new clothes, her husband would complain, saying, "My monthly salary is only a few thousand yuan, and you're buying a coat for over 1,000 yuan? That's wasting money," she would argue back. "I have my own salary too. What's wrong with wanting to look pretty?" After a few years of this monotonous marriage, she began to feel increasingly dissatisfied. No matter what they ate or drank, nothing felt enjoyable anymore. She started bringing up divorce more and more frequently. The husband, though unwilling at first, tolerated her again and again, but after endless arguments, he couldn't take it anymore. Finally, they agreed to divorce. On the day of the divorce, the woman dressed up beautifully, went to the Civil Affairs Bureau, and filmed a video of herself getting divorced. In the video, the camera shows several newlyweds happily taking wedding photos, two couples standing at the entrance of the registration room smiling. Meanwhile, the woman sat alone at a desk, filling out the divorce registration form. She sighed, "Everyone else is here to get married, but I'm here to get divorced. At least now I'm free. From now on, I can buy whatever I want. I'm finally liberated." The world is wide and free. I'll never spend another cent on a man. I'll save all my money to buy new clothes every day. She even boasted confidently, saying, "He'll never find another woman like me." She was overflowing with self-assurance and never thought being divorced would make her life harder. Every day, she posted her new lifestyle online, hoping to find someone better. Because she had received 120,000 yuan as bride price in her first marriage, she said for her second marriage she expected at least 180,000 yuan. However, her so-called carefree life didn't even last a month before it fell apart. After the divorce, she realized her own income was barely 2,000 yuan per month. After buying just a few clothes, her pockets were empty. She didn't even have enough money left for food or rent. The most heartbreaking part was that after showing off her divorce certificate online, she not only failed to find a better partner, but was also ridiculed by netizens. Many commented sarcastically, saying, "And you call this freedom? Looks like your plan completely backfired." In truth, divorce is not an escape or a shield from reality. This woman had no financial independence, yet she mocked her husband for earning too little, always wanting to spend money and enjoy herself without ever thinking about the family. And in the end, she ended up suffering the consequences of her own choices.
俺男的花300块钱请女的吃顿饭哦。
When a guy spends 300 yuan to take a girl out for dinner, the girl often complains, "This isn't good. That isn't right," finding faults here and there. But when her best friend spends only 15 yuan to treat her to a simple bowl of noodles, she eats it with pure joy, laughing and chatting nonstop. So tell me, what kind of trap do you think this is? The story of the 32-year-old woman who proudly showed off her divorce certificate only to regret it a month later is not just a personal tragedy, it's a reflection of modern China's social reality. According to official data from the Ministry of Civil Affairs, over 1 million couples divorced in 2024, marking a threefold increase compared to 20 years ago. The reasons go beyond money. It's about a crisis of trust, collapsing family values, and overwhelming material pressure that erodes emotional connection. This is China's social trends, where the pursuit of freedom after divorce often turns into a struggle with loneliness and regret. China's social trends also reveals a society in transition where women have become more independent, yet many fall into the illusion that happiness automatically follows divorce. But is freedom truly the same as happiness? Or is it just another form of escape from reality? What do you think about this story? Do you believe marriage in modern China still holds meaning, or has it become just a transaction between two strangers? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching the video. See you again in the next episode.